Hello everyone, welcome back to the session. Let's learn about most important topics. Yes, that is called Spring Boot logging. This is not theoretical logging. I am going to explain you the real production system in the real projects, in the real microservice based project, how the logging is handling. And I am going to cover structured logging and this transaction ID or correlation ID, how we can handle this logging in exception, and what is this asynchronous logging, ELK stack concept. So much more things I am going to explain you in this session. Let's get started without wasting time. So why logging matters? Before learning this logging, let's first understand why this logging is important. You will not get any project in the world without using logging, because in the production system, if something in the productions, whenever your application is running, if something happened, if any issues happen, how you will know? Only log will help you in that case. Logs are basically the production story of your application. In local development, everything may work fine, but in productions, when millions of users or lakhs of users simultaneously accessing your applications, whenever any failure happen, developer cannot directly debug the production servers. Developer don't have any control on the production code. At the same time, logs become the only source of understanding what happened, when it happened, why this issue happened, what is the root cause of these issues. All these things by using the without proper logging, debugging production issues become almost impossible, because logging only one of the source of truth. Okay. So now let's see a real world production scenarios. Imagine payment are failing and Kafka messages are retrying, APIs are becoming slow, customers are complaining. Now the main question is, how do you debug this? In your productions, we cannot simply open the code and guess something, right? So we need proper logs to trace the exact issue, to find the RC of the issue, root cause of the issues. That's why companies invest heavily in logging and observability. So log is that much important. So we are having error, warning, info. These are the logs, and these are the we are saying these are the log labels. Each logs, if we'll talk about warning, that means it is a warning. Info means it's a business events or informations. And trace means it is used very deep execution flow, usually enabled only during advanced debugging, right? Debug used by developers only, right? In the code. And whereas info means it is an important business event or important message. This is most commonly used in logging label. So like this, we are having these are the logging labels. Okay. So if you'll see, we are having a log hierarchy. So by default, info is enabled. As info is enabled, so warning, errors, everything will be. So if you enable, means by default info is enabled. If you wanted to enable the debug and trace manually, you need to do it. Okay. So trace is the most detailed label and it is the topmost actually. So the whenever you wanted to, as I told you, if you wanted to enable it debug or trace, if you enable debug, then you can see debug and info, warning and error message. If you enable trace, then you can see all these message. Okay. So you cannot, you see here one example. By default, Spring Boot uses logback as the logging format. We are saying SLF4J, right? Whenever we create a Spring Boot applications, logging support automatically available. We no need to add any dependency or pom.xml. You no need to add any dependency or extra things. So by default, Spring Boot supports this SLF4J logback framework. Okay. So default logs, if you wanted to print, you can create an object and print it. That will be your log contains like date and thread name, log label, logger class name, logger message, all these things. Okay, in my previous session already I have implemented this log in a Spring Boot applications. I will add the link in this video descriptions, you can go through it. And in this session in depth I am explaining why we need logs and what is the importance of it, how we can use it, how, what is the bad practice and what is the good practice, what are the interview questions, all these things I am trying to cover it. Okay, so people's those are beginners, they commonly used to do this kind of mistakes by adding a system.out.println. If you are doing development purposes, you can add this kind of statement and it will be print in the console, that is okay. But it is not okay whenever in case of productions logging. Why? Because it is not a structure, or it cannot be filtered, it is not printing the date, time format or timestamps, anything, right? In real applications, you always use proper logging format instead of print the statement kind of things. Okay, so SLF4J is the default log. Okay, now let's see the correct way of logging, how we can do. You see, here is a example of Spring Boot uh, uh, controller, right? So here you see this is a order controller and I am just adding a log.info fetching orders. If you add this kind of things, it will print a date and a PSID logging info and all this controller, all this message and all. Okay, so you see finally we saw that message, this is the timestamp and the format. Okay, using log.info we can generate proper structured log. Okay, so another important thing is always use parameterized logging. So why? Because it is improve performance and avoids unnecessary strings concatenations. This is the standard approach followed by in companies. Okay, so what is the structured logging? You see, whenever you are logging, right, instead of logging like a simple error message, you should log like this. Okay, so what is the order ID, so a proper error message, then customer ID, amount and correlation ID, all these things. Okay, instead of writing a random text, a simple log message always include meaningful business data and including order ID, customer ID, amount, transaction ID, etc. and all. This makes the debugging much easier actually. Okay, when issues happen in production, developers can quickly search logs using these kind of fields, right? What is the customer ID, some correlation ID and all, right? Let's talk about a real example. Okay, suppose client and you are putting a order and order contacting to the payment service and sending a message by using Kafka maybe, so by using notification service. So this kind of you see, whenever a request or a request processing, right, you wanted to order something, so it is going to these many services, right? If any breakage happen or any slowness or it is payment failure or something happen, how internally, where it is failed actually, which service is not provided the solutions, or what is the problem, how you will debug, it is really tough, right? In that case you need to maintain a correlation ID, right? So you think about a microservice based project, right? One user request may visit across multiple services, right? Without tracking information, developers cannot identify, right, which request belongs to which user flows, right? This creates huge debugging problems. That is why we need to use a transaction ID, that is called correlation ID, becomes very important, right? So what is this correlation ID? Whenever any request will come, we will create a correlation ID and that correlation ID will flow for that request, right? So there is a MDC dot put here. MDC is a feature, so this feature, what we are doing, each request we are maintaining that, temporarily storing that correlation ID. Okay, so MDC means it's a feature, as I told you, which stands for mapped diagnostic context. Okay, we store these correlation IDs. Okay, MDC is a features. So like this we can able to recognize which transaction or which request is failing and in which service, all these things. So you see there is a log pattern. Okay, you can maintain this correlation ID in each request, and this is the this is log label, this is timestamp, threads, all these messages. You can format it. You wanted to see the label first and then timestamp. You can make format. You can make use of this format in a properties file or application YML file. It's quite easy, but there is a like useful, you can this log pattern configuration, you can change the pattern, the error message and all. I wanted to say that. Okay, so service layer logging. So what I'm trying to say, service layer logging is important. It is also important because always when you log, right, a business operation start or when it completes, all these kind of things you can log, right? For example, starting order creations and order creation completed, this kind of message or logger message will help to understand the execution flow and the performance of the applications. You can came to know that you can measure the performance of the applications by using these logs also, you see. So you can use performance, API taking how much time before execution of the API, you are keeping the start times, then after execution you are keeping the end times, then you are putting a log end minus start. So you will able to know that this API is taking how much time. Okay, so whenever in your applications multiple APIs or multiple services communicating to each other to solve a request for you, right? How you will debug that which API or which service is taking time? This is the one way of it. Okay, so performance logging also possible. Okay, so you see what I'm trying to say. Exception, in the exception handling also we are having two kinds of exception: local exception and global exception, right? So in the exceptions also you can put a log. You see exception happened, and what is the root cause of this exception? Some business lines text, you are putting payment failed with order ID or something kind of things you can put, right? So you should not put a log dot error, a common error message. That is a bad practice. You should mention correctly, right? So this is a local exception logs you can put. In case of local you will put. In case of global exception also you can put some log error message, not a problem. Okay, so global means common. And performance logging I told you, and this is very important, asynchronous logging. Okay, so this asynchronous logging improves application performance once again. Okay, so you think about your one request you send, for example you are doing some payment, that payment is taking 5 millisecond. Okay, and to solve that payment you are calling to the notification service and authentication service and blah, other services and all. Okay, so each service is printing some logs, and that payment is taking 5 millisecond, and printing some logs it is taking another milliseconds. So unnecessarily you will kill like another 5 millisecond. Total request it will take 10 millisecond, which is not expected. So because here you are expecting something happened, let it be print that log, then you will proceed further. That is called synchronous logging. But here you wanted to isolate that let it be the process happen within 5 millisecond, and that log after processing you can print later whether it is failure or success. That way asynchronous logging is coming to the picture. It is needed to improve your performance of your applications. Okay, so one more is file logging. So you see everything you cannot log and it will print in the console. You should all the logs it should add in a file. Okay, so you see every day to day life your customers are accessing your applications and doing some transactions, and logs keep on increasing, right? If it is going to a file also, that file will be keep on increasing, right? So even though you are putting in file, you should be mechanism like whenever your file will be increased the size, you should archive it, and you should name day wise or month wise something the file name. And whenever your file will be too old, like more than 60 days something kind of things, you should delete those files, otherwise you unnecessarily will reserve some memory, right? So all this kind of mechanism you can configure it, that logback.xml. Like you can configure all these kind of things. You wanted to send some log message to the email, all these kind of things you can configure it. Okay, so that is called centralized logging architecture. Actually, whatever logs in your applications you wanted to put in log stacks, then elasticsearch, then Kibana, or Grafana, all these Kibana or Grafana, Splunk, all these tools you are putting into the logs actually. Okay, so this is called a architecture, ELK stack. Okay, we are saying this is called the ELK stack architecture. Okay, so using Kibana dashboards, teams can search and analyze logs very efficiently. Instead of Kibana, you can use some other tools, Grafana or some other tools, right? So this is also possible. So people in the productions, whenever you are logging, people used to do these kind of mistakes, but you don't do this. So in the loop, if you are putting a log, right, log message unnecessarily 1 lakh times, this log message will be print, and sometimes you are printing to a sensitive data which is not correct. So don't do that actually. So this is called bad practice. Okay, so too many log increases storage cost and reduce application performance. Okay, so the best practice is always use a meaningful message and use the structured logging with the order id, some ids and all. Okay, use proper log labels, avoid sensitive informations not to print. Okay, keep logs meaningful and readable always. Okay, and always think about the log help during the productions debugging. Okay, so whatever log you are putting, it is going to help you in the debugging. Okay, so if any new engineer will come or any production issue will come, by your log only the source of truth to investigate and to provide the solutions for that. Keep in mind. Okay, so now this is all about the logs. If you are finding this session is useful and it's good, you can like, share and subscribe to this channel. If you are new, I will upload few more videos for you guys. Okay, so there is some interview questions. Okay, so they can ask, anyone can ask, or you should understand, right, what are the log labels, like what is the difference between different debug and trace, and why we use these MDC features, and what is asynchronous logging, what is file logging, how we are putting all these things. So if you understand today's concept properly, you can confidently answer those questions in the interviews. Okay, so a final message I wanted to say that logs are not just debugging tools. Logs are the production story of your applications. Okay, good logging helps developer debug faster, monitor systems better, and maintain scalable your applications. Okay, so thank you everyone for watching this session. If you find this session is useful, please like, share and subscribe. See you in the next session. Thank you.